In this video, I'm going to demonstrate the new improved TCard system, some of the ways in which you can use it, and how to configure it. So to access the TCard system from any role center, under Actions, you want to select TCard. Now, the improved version is designed to work as a standalone. If you want to actually run your technicians and garages via the TCard system, you can do. What we do strongly recommend though is that if you have a relatively complex setup of a couple of technicians or more, then the schedule is probably going to be more suitable as your primary way of controlling the workshop. So if you're currently using the schedule and you're comfortable with the schedule, we do not recommend that you switch to the TCard system. The TCard system is designed for a much simpler setup. It doesn't have the flexibility that the schedule does, so just want to clarify that. Some of the good ways you can use the TCard system though to complement the schedule is if you run collections and deliveries, or you have a valeting bay, or you run some resources that aren't typically technicians. Again, that could be drivers or valeters, for example. Now, once you've established how you want to use the TCard system, it's from that point that you can start to design the TCard system. So just going to start by showing you how to remove and add new TCard containers. Now, these are TCard containers. You can have as many as you wish or as few as you wish, and you can decide on the names and assign them to resources. So under Actions Configuration, you have something called Configuration Mode. In configuration mode, this allows you to move the TCards around. You can delete them, or you can go into the setup of each container. Now, the most important container on your TCard is the incoming jobs. It should already be on all of your TCards. Please do not delete this container. If you do, then a member of support are going to have to help you rebuild it. Now, just make sure, click on the setup, make sure the subtype of this container is set to initial. Now, the way this works is that when jobs are scheduled on the booked in on the schedule on a particular day, when that day comes round, they're going to drop into this container automatically. So if you made a load of bookings for Monday, for example, and you've been using this TCard system, well, when Monday comes round, these job sheets here in the incoming jobs are going to change to the jobs that appear on Monday's schedule that aren't already allocated to a TCard. So if you have some WIP, for example, and it's already got a TCard status, that won't reset back to incoming jobs. Incoming jobs is purely reserved for the new bookings on any particular day, but it is filtered to that particular day. Aside from incoming jobs, it's really down to you how you use this feature. In this demo, we've got it set up for a simple garage that prefers to use a TCard system over a schedule. The one that I like to see more often is it used for collections and deliveries and valeting. It's really suitable for those two processes. If you do either or in your business, then the TCard system can really solve those issues. So to add a new container, under configuration, you select create new container. It will place a blank container for you. Go ahead and move that container into the position that you want to. You can then change the height of the container. If we then go into the setup, this is where you can define the colors. You have more accurate sizing if you want to have custom sizing here. And this is where you actually then assign it to a technician. So let's say we wanted, this is already all set up, but let's say, for example, we selected technician 4. We could rename the container to Tech 4. Close it down, and now you see we've got a Tech 4 container. You can see that these have emojis as well, so just a quick tip, if you want to use emojis, if you press the Windows key, for those using PCs, press the Windows key full stop, you'll get access to an emoji menu, and you can just select any emoji you like. Just adds a bit of color to the TCard containers. So once you've got your container set up in your workflow, perhaps again you've got it set up for your drivers or your valeters, however you decide that you want the TCard set up, just use the configuration mode to get it set up how you like. If you need help in setting it up, then please just contact support and we can give you a hand. Once you're finished with configuration mode, you must go back to operation mode. Now there is another piece of setup. Under Actions, Configuration, Setup, you'll have a refresh interval. Now, by default, it's set to 30 seconds. This means that it will update every 30 seconds or so. Just bear in mind that the shorter time period you have it, I'll just show you the repercussion of this. If we have a really short time period, when we scroll down on a container, if the page refreshes, it's going to reset the page. So 30 seconds is about 30 to 60 seconds is the refresh time that we recommend. If you have this up on a wallboard in your workshop for everybody to see, then 30 to 60 seconds isn't going to make a difference to anybody. It just means the usability of it is better. Okay, so what you'll notice now when I scroll over a TCard, I also get a tooltip, which we didn't have before. Now, the great thing about these changes is all of the information within the TCard itself and all of the information within the tooltip is completely customizable. It's up to you what you do with this. Now, to access this setup, again, go to Actions, Configuration, Setup. Within the setup screen, in the action bar, you have a new option called Text Configuration. Now this screen is going to look slightly busy, but there is an awful lot of customizability here, and there's not really an easy way to allow you guys to customize it. So I'll just very briefly explain how this works. You have the item setup type and you have the tooltip type. Now in the item type, you have top line, middle line, bottom left, and bottom right. So when you're looking at the TCard, they're the various places that you can actually change or decide which fields belong where. The TCard is simpler. The tooltip is simply have a header or the body. So if we go ahead and have a look what we've got here, we've stated that in the item top line, we've selected field number 10170, which is the vehicle registration number. And if you want to, you can select from any field that's available on a job sheet. This includes things like extended statuses, work status codes. If it's on the job sheet, you can add it to this TCard, so you can see that the options are quite vast. Once you've selected which one you like, you dictate the sequence in which they appear. So you could have multiple items within the top line. It's up to you to then define the sequence. If you want to prefix it, you can do. So let's say we want to add a prefix to the vehicle registration number. We can add a car emoji into here. When we go back to the TCard, you'll see it's added a little car symbol just there. So really this is up to you. It's down to your imagination how you want these set up. It will come as a default setup, which we've decided is a good starting point. Again, for whatever you guys want, the choice is really yours. It's down to your imagination. For those fields that are a slider, so they're essentially yes or no, you don't need to display yes or no. You can replace yes or no with emojis. So we can see here that we've selected item top line. We've selected field number 10964, which is collection and delivery. We've given it a sequence of 20, so it's going to appear in that position. And then what we've actually told the system is that if the slider is set to yes, then replace the icon with this emoji. If the slider is set to no, leave it blank. So that's the logic behind the sliders that are a yes and no. Again, in the tooltip, it's the exact same scenario. You simply select what you want in the header and in the body, and then you can prefix it. So if we have a look here that we've added mobile phone number, and it's got a little phone symbol, and the booking date and booking time has a calendar and a clock symbol. So if we go back and have a look at the tooltips, you can see how that appears on the tooltip look. See if we can find the phone number. There you go. So that is how you configure the TCards and the tooltips. And one of the last changes that we've made is the ability for technicians to now be allocated jobs via the TCard. Again, if you're using the schedule, please do not go down this path unless it's for drivers and valeters. This does allow for you to for your drivers and valeters to use easy clocking. If you were to get them a tablet, this is now a very good way to assign work to them without having to place it within the schedule. So I'll just show you how this works from a technician's view. This is a phone. Just imagine this is the phone setup. You can see in this system we have a TCard. We have scheduled tasks and TCard tasks. If I select TCard tasks, you can see that technician 1, who I'm logged in as, is represented on their TCard system. If they were to start a task, it would automatically create the allocation on the schedule and start them clocked onto that job. Another thing to consider as well, feature that we've added, is the reordering of the T cards. Now this was missing before. We appreciate this is quite essential to set priorities so staff can actually understand which jobs to do first. It's all right allocating them a job, but they need to understand the order in which they do the work. Well, now you can just change the order of the T card system. And again, if you move this one over here, you can just again simply change the order of it. Another feature to consider is that from within the job sheet, you can also update the T card container. So you don't need to go back to the T card to do this. You change it within the job sheet, back to the T card, and you can see it's actually updated the T card as well. So that's an overview of the new system, some of the new features and some of the setup involved. Again, please consider that this feature is not necessarily going to be used by everybody. Please consider how this can improve your process. Don't force yourself to use it, especially if you're comfortable using the schedule and everything is already working. This is designed to complement. It's not designed to replace. Again, if you find any good ways to use it, we look forward to a good discussion in the forums. If you've got any good ideas, then just please get it in the community forum. If you need any assistance, then just please speak to member support. Thank you.